Alongside movies, live sport is one of the major reasons we hanker after a huge screen. So I've come to the spiritual home of Projectors, a pub that shows live footy.
Hello, you must be Sonny.
That's me. Hi, John, you OK?
Where the resident bar manager, who watches hundreds of hours of football on a projector each year, has offered to lend a hand.
With short throw projectors, you still get a huge image, but the projector only needs to be between 1 and 2.5 metres away from the screen.
Traditional projectors, however, need around 4 to 5 metres for the light to pass through a lens and fill a screen. Short throw models reduce this distance by reflecting light off internal mirrors before it goes through a lens, creating the same big image but much closer to the screen. So that's how they work, but which projectors are under scrutiny? First, it's an Optoma, which is the cheapest on test, offers HD resolution and supports HDR. My mid-price projector is from Epson and has built-in Chromecast for streaming from a phone or laptop. And my final projector is from BenQ, which is the only one on test that supports native 4K content. But which is best? Time for test number 1. Setup.
Shall we get to it?
Let's go.
Great.
We've got 3 identical screens which accommodate a 16:9 image up to 75 inches. And for this test, we're going to position our projectors to maximise that size.
And the distance of the projector away from the screen is around 1.3 metres, which should be well within the distance you'd have available at home.
First up, it's the Optoma, which can be mounted on a table or the ceiling and projects an image up to 100 inches. But to change the size, you need to physically move it.
I'd want it about there, I think.
And you have to manually focus and warp the image.
It's just about filling the screen and everything's all perpendicular.
A reasonably simple setup for the cheapest projector then. Next, it's the Epson.
How's it going?
Yeah, so far so good. We're just pairing the remote.
Unlike the Optoma, it automatically focuses and warps the image, making the corners square. But at this distance, it struggles to fill the screen.
Can you go further back?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to try and move it back.
Yes. Could be the table off the podium, I suspect.
Moving the Epson back around a metre produces the same 75-inch picture.
Well, that looks set up correctly. I'm going to get on with the BenQ.
The BenQ may be the most expensive, but it can project the biggest image on test, up to a massive 300 inches. And, like the Epson, it automatically focuses and warps the image, making it easy to get a straight and sharp picture on screen.
And unlike the other two, which you have to physically move backwards and forwards to change the size of the image, the BenQ has a zoom function.
But the small size adjustments aren't enough to fill the screen from here. So, like the Epson, I need to move it back to 1.8 metres away. But now it's positioned lower, there's a problem.
This front leg is practically falling out, so I can't extend it anymore, and I can't lower the rear. They're fully retracted. So I'm going to have to resort to some napkins under there.
And with that, all 3 projectors are good to go. But which has come out on top?
Yes, I mean, generally, I think a fairly straightforward setup process. What did you find
pretty
with
straightforward. Plug and play, press the power button. It was just getting the screen size right that was the only issue I encountered.
A mixed but overall impressive performance from all 3 projectors then, with each offering beneficial features when setting up. So we'll call this round a score draw. Next, I've arranged for Coventry City legend and 1987 FA Cup winner Dave Bennett to help out in Test 2, Brightness and Motion.
Unfortunately, due to various sort of technical licensing issues, I couldn't get hold of any Premier League footage, but I may have a solution.
I've taken the liberty to film some of my own. A recreation of Dave's Wembley strike, thanks to the boys at Coventry Sphinx Football Club. And to see which projector's best at producing bright, fast-paced visuals, we're going to watch it back in the brightly lit bar, simulating daytime viewing.
Now, the one on the left there, that's an Optoma. It's the cheapest of the 3, and it's got a light output of 4,000 lumens, which probably should be good enough for most reasonably bright rooms.
In comparison, the Epson has a lower light output of just 1,000 lumens, but the BenQ boasts 6,000 lumens, so should be the brightest of the 3.
They look quite different, don't they? I think the Epson's struggling a bit, the one in the middle, really.
Yes, it is struggling. It's very dark.
It's closer on the thing between the Optoma and the BenQ.
Yeah, you can see the BenQ looks a lot brighter.
Yeah.
Especially to the Epson.
What about the way it's handling the motion?
To produce a smooth picture, both TVs and projectors need a high refresh rate. This is how many times a new image can be drawn every second. And while the cheaper Optoma offers up to an 85Hz refresh rate, the Epson and BenQ go up to 240Hz. And once again, it's the BenQ which is attracting Dave the most.
Well, at the moment, I would say the BenQ is looking the best. Well, I'm just looking on the detail of it now, and you can see the motion is moving a lot better than on the Optoma.
We've seen what made you a winner in the match. Which of these three wins for you?
Well, the winner for me out of these three projectors would be the BenQ.
With its silky smooth motion and bright projection, the BenQ strikes again in round 2 and takes the lead. Can it complete a hat-trick in our final round? For our final round, Dave's hanging up his boots, so I'm turning down the lights for Sonny and I to settle down to a movie night in test number 3, assessing colour, contrast and sharpness. And so we can really get into the detail, we're watching a full HD film, side by side, on all 3 projectors at the same time. And immediately, Sonny's impressed with the cheapest on test.
Colours actually seem to pop off the screen.
I certainly think the Optoma seems to have the most pleasing colours. The reds in particular seem to come out well.
An impressive performance from the Optoma, but can the Epson and BenQ do any better?
And the Epson, although it's sharp, just is really just too dull.
It's too dull.
The BenQ on this 1080p footage doesn't seem to be quite giving the engaging colour reproduction and contrast of the Optoma.
So the Optoma's best when it comes to colour and contrast, but when it comes to picture sharpness, there's only one projector Sonny's got his eye on.
So I think originally I thought that the Optoma would be the clear winner. However, the more I look at it, the clarity of the picture on the BenQ, I think that probably sways it in its favour for me.
I suspect if I used a lot of 4K footage, I'd definitely want to go to the BenQ, but with this being a bit cheaper, and I quite like the colour balance, I might be tempted, I think, to go by a very small margin for the Optoma on this one.
For the watching movies round, it's a point each for both the 1080p Optoma and the 4K BenQ, putting the priciest projector firmly at the top of the table after today's testing. But is it really worth shelling out top dollar for?
Interesting piece, John.
I mean, the Optoma actually produced a very likeable picture and is undoubtedly very good value for money. But there's no doubt also that the BenQ was a better picture and also is the only one to handle 4K, so it has to be the winner.
Well, thank you for that, John.